Hello and welcome everybody, my name's Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and today we're going to be looking at some of the top stories from r/NuclearRevenge. Before we do though, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest videos. Drive long sharp nails into my fence? Kill my vine? Enjoy the weeds my siblings with. Huh? I'm reading that title word for word, but I don't quite get it. If you guys know in the comments, be sure to let me know. Not sure if this counts as nuclear, but was told to post it here, so here goes. This happened in the summer of 1974 when I was 4 years old. When I was a kid, we had next door neighbor who was a total mega bitch. Mega bitch was a 40-something-year-old woman who liked high heels, big jewelry, lots of makeup, and wore long, flowy caftans in garish colors that did not flatter her. She had a big perm. Remember, it's the 70s. A huge ass, and was notorious in our neighborhood for being an entitled twat. Her favorite thing was to go on neighbors' landings, either early in the morning or late at night, and steal decorations and potted plants which she would then put in her garden. She once even dug up someone's small tree out of their front yard because, according to the neighbor, she felt it would look better in her garden. Total bitch. For the most part, she left my family alone. My family has a take-no-shit reputation in the neighborhood and she knew it. Only glare at me and my siblings when we played outside because she hated kids. Sadly, that didn't last. One day, one of my sisters got badly sliced by a long nail when she went to pick flowers off the passion flower vine in the fence. Important later. Turned out Megabitch had hammered dozens of long nails into our fence so she could hang potted plants she'd most likely stolen. The leaves on the vine had hidden them until my sister got sliced. She had to get a tetanus shot which made her sick all day. Mom was pissed, so she went out and actually spent the rest of the day hammering each and every nail back out through the fence and back into Megabitch's garden, causing many of the pots to fall and break. This is probably why she did what she did. About a month later, my mom goes into our kitchen and sees a man in our yard. She goes out and asks what the hell he's doing, and the guy tells her he was a gardener and had been hired to get rid of the vine on the fence. Mom asked him who had hired him to do this. The owner of the fence. He told her and gestured to Megabitch's house. Mom told him, calmly since none of this was his fault, that it wasn't Megabitch's fence, and she was the owner. The poor guy was horrified, however, the damage was done. He'd already cut into the hard wood and roots, and now our vine was dead. After the poor guy left, Megabitch stiffed him. We found out later. Mom went to Megabitch's house and confronted her. The bitch didn't even deny it, just laughed in my mom's face and said,
"I did what I did. It's not like you can do anything about it,"
and sauntered back into her house. She'd just messed with the wrong family. 2 days later, Megabitch went on a 2-week vacation with her husband, an a-hole, to Cabo. Revenge time! The day she left, my older siblings, along with a family friend, decided Megabitch's back garden needed improvements. So they climbed the fence, went into her garden, dug up all the pretty flowers and small trees, carted them out along with stolen decorations, and replaced them with high pollen weeds, quick-growing ivy, and lots of poison oak and poison ivy that they'd carefully dug up from a nearby state park. I was too young to help, sadly. We then temporarily moved 3 dogs into our backyard. Neighbor was afraid of them despite the fact that they were 2 Pomeranians and a small mutt. And we also had a 9-foot fence which was too high for her or her husband's fat asses to climb. So we knew our garden would be safe from her. My family excitedly waited. When Megabitch got back and saw her new and improved garden, she threw the biggest, most epic tantrum and meltdown we'd ever seen. It was spectacular. A whole class of sugared-up, pissed-off preschoolers couldn't have thrown a bigger tantrum. From the top of the fence, we all watched. Dad took the day off to see the freak-out as he pit it. As Megabitch screamed and ranted, pulled her hair, kicked the weeds, and threw anything she could get her hands on, all while cussing and screeching like she was getting a chili powder enema. Then she spotted us all watching her. She yelled and cursed at us all, laughing kids, coming to the correct conclusion we had done this to her precious garden. By this time, all the surrounding neighbors were also watching, but she, of course, zeroed in on us. Megabitch then stormed over to our house and banged on our door until Mom opened the door. Dad let her deal with it as he was still laughing his ass off. Megabitch then demanded my family to not only pull all those ugly plants out, and to, of course, pay for new ones and plant them, and to do it now, right now. Our mom just looked at her, yawned, and told her she had zero proof it was her kids who had done it. Mom knew, even sat and watched with me as my siblings did it, laughing the whole time. I think at one point my dad even helped. Mom then reminded her she had stolen dozens of plants from the neighbors, had been caught blatantly stealing from their front garden, and yet she was surprised that someone retaliated. Mom laughed, told her to F off, and went back inside. She ranted at us through the door for about an hour till her voice blessedly gave out, then stomped back to her house. She avoided us from then on and would give a death glare to my mom, or whoever she saw. Mom would just smile, give her the finger, and go about her business. She was intimidated by my dad and wouldn't do anything when he was around, but Dad worked a lot, so wasn't there most of the time. We donated most of the dug-up plants to our neighbors she had stolen from and returned the stolen ornaments and decorations to their rightful owner, if we found them, but kept 2 rose bushes which we planted by our back gate, a ceramic hearth cat, which I still have, and a glass and metal sun god decoration nobody claimed. Megabitch never did get rid of all the weeds and didn't realize it was poison oak she was pulling, barehanded, until she and her husband got horrible rashes over a third of their bodies, and, I was told, in some very unfortunate places. Edit. Some of you people have been asking why my mom didn't use Megabitch's words.
I didn't, so what? It's not like you can do anything about it.
Then slammed the door in her face. Let me just interrupt real quick. This is Ryan speaking. This is very Reddit of them to do. I've seen a lot of fake stories on here, and it's always the classic movie trope of, I'm gonna use your words against you. That doesn't happen in real life, especially in heated moments. So if anything, I think this story has more validity over the fact that it wasn't some Hollywood movie ending where she got the ultimate word in. But let's get back to the story. She thought about saying that, but was smart enough to A, never admit to any alleged wrongdoing, not that anyone else in the neighborhood thought getting her stolen stuff back from the neighborhood a-hole EP was wrong, and B, by not admitting to anything made Megabitch much more subdued and paranoid, on the off chance it actually wasn't us, and made more leery of all her neighbors, made life in the neighborhood better in the long term, since from then on, no plants or decorations were ever stolen again. TLDR, a-hole neighbor hammers huge sharp nails into the fence, injures my sister, then kills our passion flower vine, so my siblings pull out all her flowers and replace them with weeds, including poison oak. Thanks for the silver, and wow, a gold too. Lady wouldn't vacate private parking space. Good luck finding your licenseless car in another country police impound lot. I've lived in an apartment complex in Lisbon, Portugal. The where is important. For the last 4 years. If anyone's from here, you'll know parking is hell. Fortunately, my building has a private garage. However, as is often the case, some parking places are more difficult to park in than others. I have one of the easier ones. Last year, I was offered a job abroad and took it. Thought I'd be nice, parked my car at my parents' where they have plenty of space, and left a notice in the building elevator that went along the lines of, I'm the owner of 3B and will be away for at least 6 months. Feel free to use my parking spot. Ended up being away for longer, almost a year, came back to see my parking spot occupied, which was okay since I offered for it to be used. Put another notice in the elevator, this time to say I was back and would use the parking spot again. Gave it 2 days and picked up my car from my parents. Went into the garage and my space was still being used and had to park somewhere on the street, and decided to give it another day. The day after, it was occupied again by the same car. I asked a couple neighbors and figured out it belonged to a lady living 2 stories above me. Went up to talk to her and she immediately got defensive and said that her parking spot is very difficult for her to park in, and since I was away for longer than I had announced, I lost the space. Which is a stupid logic, as the spots are bought with the apartment. It literally belongs to me. She told me I couldn't use her parking space instead as she was using it for storage. Went to the building admin, who said he'd talk to her, and he did and came back shaking his head. Nothing. I sent a registered letter telling her to stop using my space and giving her 48 hours to take her car elsewhere. The next day, I saw the unopened letter in the garbage bin beside the mailboxes. I ended up scouting my garage, waiting for her to leave, and would immediately park my car, hoping she'd take the hint. She didn't, and we ended up doing this dance for a few weeks. Up until the day I came back to see my entire driver's side keyed. That was the final straw. I talked to a friend who owns a towing company. We chose a Saturday morning. The last few weeks she hadn't left home on Saturdays. I knew, as I'd been watching her car like a hawk, so I thought we'd have big chances of her not noticing anything until everything was done, and towed her car. The plan initially was to leave the car just down the road, but that felt too close and too easy. Then I thought about leaving it in a city about 15 minutes away, but it still didn't feel quite right. My friend jokingly said, "Let's leave it in Madrid." FYI, Madrid is in Spain, about 600 kilometers, or 375 miles if you're American, away. I knew he was joking, but Madrid did feel right. I asked if he had enough time. He had, so off we went. Once we got to Madrid, we went out for lunch, strolled around the city, and waited until it got dark and the streets empty. In the meantime, we had already decided on where to leave the car, a handicapped parking close to a police station. And so we did. As a bonus, my friend also took both license plates off the car. Then we drove back home. It has been 2 weeks and I haven't seen her car since. One of these days, I might leave a letter in her mailbox telling her to contact Madrid police, but in the meantime, I'll enjoy being able to use my parking whenever I want. And with that, my friends, too bad so sad, the video is over. If you liked it, make sure to check out some of her other stuff and maybe even subscribe. As always, my name's Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next video.